Shalom. I'm Nama Aru. This is my husband, Rabbi David Aru. And we want to learn today about the Parsha of Lech Lecha.
Well, it says in the Parsha of Bracha that you will be for a blessing. And Rashi says that the blessing, the ability to give blessings, will be given over into your hands. So Avram Avinu, or his descendants, certain of his descendants, will have the ability to give brachos. And
the ability to give a blessing.
And about 250, 300 years ago, there were two moderate tailors in Vilna that were having a rough time, and they decided they would travel around the province to places where there weren't normally tailors and make whatever people needed. As they traveled for several years, they were doing quite well with this because tailors were generally only found in the larger cities. As they were coming back, it used to be that the local nobility would hire Jews to run parts of their estate. A village here is under this Jew, a village there is under that Jew, and they were required to collect all the appropriate rents, get workers, essentially serfs in those days, to the serfs to do their jobs and so on. And they could become quite wealthy, but it was not a wonderful job in certain ways because the locals were always very upset with you, and often the squire would be upset with you, and it could put you in a very difficult situation. So as they're finally on their way back home to Vilna, they're passing by the squire, and the squire is very upset because, the Jew who's collecting the taxes for the squire in this village is very upset because the squire's oldest daughter is getting married, and he wants tailor to make a special, trousseau and so on. And the squire's brought all of the great local tailors, and even from far away, and the squire is not happy with any of them, and he says, if you don't get me the right person, I'll exile you. You'll leave penniless. And so these two tailors hear the story, and they say, listen, what do you have to lose? The guy seems to be crazy anyway. Take us. And he said, we'll take you. You guys aren't that good. So if he's not being reasonable with the best, maybe for whatever his insanity, he'll take us. So the tax farmer, the poor Jew who's in this position, he says, well, what do I have to lose? At this point, nothing. He can't find anyone else anyway. So he takes them, and Squire likes them. His wife likes them. And they make a trousseau. They get paid. The squire's wife wants some of the money back, and he says, listen, these guys are so happy that they helped this Jew retain his job. Why don't you tell them about the one who we threw him and his family in the dungeon because he wasn't paying us everything we were deserving. And so the squire tells them, and they say, well, how much does he owe you? 300 silver rubles. And the two discuss it. It's a huge amount of money. And one says, all right, we'll pay it. The other says, no, it's too much. So he says, let's divide up our money in now. They divide it up, and it comes out to exactly 300 silver rubles to each of them. And the one who wanted to pay it redeems the Jew and his family in the prison, who at this point were already being asked to be killed and to get out of their position. Death was better than living that way. And they're redeemed. They're very happy, thankful. The two of them go back. The one with the money opens up his own tailor shop, and he's moderately successful. The other one has nothing. He's wandering around, and they start calling him the mekaver, the tailor who looks like a gravedigger. And he doesn't do much. He's begging for a living. And then one day he approaches someone. He's hungry. He asks them, what are you going to give me if I give you that? I'll give you a bracha. Yeah, whatever. He gives him some money, enough to buy a loaf of bread. He receives a bracha. And this particular person was a flax merchant, and he had to travel around to various farmers, not really the farmer himself, not the person who actually did the work, but the owner of the manor. And the person he had to visit that day was a very difficult customer. He goes there and everything's finished very easily, very quickly. This is interesting. And several other times he gives this particular gravedigger looking tailor a little bit of money before he goes off, and all of his business ventures are very successful. His hardest customers suddenly become very easy to deal with. And as happens, Yantif comes. He drinks a little bit more than he was supposed to. As an aside, there's an interesting halacha. The Beis Din was supposed to appoint guards to walk around the parks and the riverbanks on Yantif because maybe people imbibe a little too much and are going to act improperly. So this action of this merchant wasn't that unusual. And he tells what happened, why he's suddenly so successful. And as the Gemara says, Chavra Chavra Eslei, that everyone's friend has a friend, and soon everyone knows about it, and everyone's going to this depressed tailor to give him a little bit of tzedakah before they have to do business, and he's doing quite well. He's still depressed, doesn't feel well, but his name gets widely spread around. And two Hasidim that are traveling through hear about this, and when they go back to the Baal Shem Tov, they tell the Baal Shem Tov the story of this. The Baal Shem Tov says, I want to see this person, convince him to come. And the two go, and the next time they're in Vilna, they convince this tailor to come with them to see the Baal Shem Tov. The Baal Shem Tov asks him, what is it that you did that enables all of your brachas to be fulfilled? And the guy said, I didn't do anything special in my life. And as the Baal Shem Tov interviews him more and more and discusses it, he eventually gets to the story about he gave the 300 rubles to redeem this family. And as we've mentioned in the past, someone that saves one Jew as if he had saved the entire world. This is the whole family. And the Baal Shem Tov kept him close to him for a long time and dealt with him in ways that relieved his depression. And he eventually became one of the Hasidim of the Baal Shem Tov, and was known, of course, for the ability of his brachos to always come true because of the Mesiras Nefesh, his own willing to give up for others that he had practiced.
Can you tell us a little bit about who the Baal Shem Tov was? Just a little.
No, that would be an entire thing on and of itself.
Well, was he like a great, well-known rabbi?
Yes.
What was he most known for?
Founding of the Hasidic movement.
And what years was that?
I don't know.